Am I the a-hole for not putting my stepdad before my dad once and saying out loud he's not my dad? My parents divorced when I 17 was just 2 years old. They split custody 50-50, and for most of my early life, things were actually pretty stable. I had two homes, two sets of routines, and two parents who, while no longer together, still showed up for me in their own ways. My dad was always around. He wasn't the stereotypical divorced dad who disappears. He made the effort every single time it was his week. He came to school events, sports games, and made sure I never felt like I had to fight for his attention. My relationship with him was solid from the very beginning. When I was 5, my mom met the man who would eventually become my stepdad. By the time I was 7, they were married. Looking back, I realize I never had that warm, movie-like moment where the kid realizes the new stepparent is awesome. Instead, it felt orchestrated, forced. One of the earliest interactions I remember with him set the tone for everything that followed. We were sitting in the living room, me playing with some action figures, and out of nowhere, he said something along the lines of, I think it'd be nice if you had the same last name as me and your mom. I looked at him and immediately said, no hesitation. His face changed like I just told him I hated him. Wow, he said, I didn't think I was such a bad guy that you'd react like that. I remember freezing. I wasn't trying to hurt his feelings. I just didn't understand why he'd even suggest it when I already had a dad who was very much alive and present. My mom quickly stepped in, telling him, it's not necessary. We can be a family without that. But the damage was done. In my head, it was the first sign that he wanted to replace my dad. From that point forward, every attempt he made to bond with me didn't feel genuine. It felt like part of a mission to become my real dad. Any time we interacted, it was like he had a mental checklist. Teach me something, take me somewhere, try to create a father-son moment. If I said no, he'd sulk or complain to my mom later, saying I never gave him a chance. And yes, I'll admit, I gave him a hard time. I resented him for suggesting the name change, and I still think it was arrogant, like my dad's existence didn't matter. We butted heads a lot. When I tried football for a short time, he jumped at the chance to be the one to take me to practice, saying it could be our thing. But I wanted my dad there. Then he suggested I try boxing. I said I'd ask my dad about it, and he looked genuinely annoyed. I said I wanted us to do father-son bonding. Not you and your dad, he told me. That's when I told him flat out, I can't do that with you. You're not my dad. My mom lit into me later for that, telling me it was hurtful and disrespectful, and that I needed to appreciate my stepdad more. When I was 11, my dad got seriously sick, like ICU sick. He nearly died. He spent months in the hospital, then more months in a care facility. For almost 2 years, he wasn't able to have me for custody, but I visited him as often as I could. Some weeks I couldn't visit at all because he was too sick for visitors. That's when my stepdad started making a real push to step into the dad role. But instead of feeling supported, I felt cornered, like he'd been waiting for this moment. He'd openly complained to my mom, even when his dad's not around, he still won't give me a chance. It went beyond words. There were times he refused to drive me to see my dad. Once, my mom was sick and couldn't drive me, so I had to call another family member to take me. Another time, Mom was out of town, and he literally tried to block me from leaving the house. We yelled at each other so loudly that we woke up my half-sisters from their nap. I slipped out while he was distracted. When my dad finally recovered enough to come home, he immediately reclaimed his custody time. Our bond only got stronger after that. By 14, I decided to live with my dad full-time, only visiting my mom's house one weekend a month. My relationship with my mom and stepdad became polite at best, strained at worst. The only real joy I get there is spending time with my half-sisters, who are too young to have been part of all the adult drama. Fast forward to now. My stepdad's company is hosting a Father's Day camping trip for employees and their families. It runs from Thursday through late Sunday, with everyone returning Monday morning. He came to me and said, I never get to have you for Father's Day. There's going to be special stuff for dads and their kids. I want that for us. I told him I wasn't going to miss Father's Day with my actual dad, but I hoped he had a good time with the rest of the family. That's when he lost it. It's just one Father's Day. Why are you being such an ass about it? You always choose your dad. Just once, I'd expect you to choose me, especially after the time he was out of the picture. I stepped up and tried to be a dad to you, and it makes me sick how often I come in second. I looked him in the eye and said, that's because you're not my dad. You'll never be first. My mom overheard from the next room and came storming in. She told me I was not allowed to say that in her house and that I was being disrespectful and unfair by never prioritizing him. I told her it was just the truth and that he needed to hear it and accept it. She said I was acting childish and that it wouldn't kill me to give him a chance to have a son for a while. I told her I wasn't going to. The fight got heated. She kept pushing, I kept standing my ground, and eventually, I just walked out before I said something worse. Since then, she's been trying to talk sense into me. She says my behavior is awful and that I'm being cold-hearted. But I can't help thinking, if she really wanted me to have that kind of relationship with him, maybe she shouldn't have let him push so hard when I was a kid. So, am I the a hole?